On the Star Trek Universe podcast today, we are talking about the short trek, The Girl Who Made the Stars. Right after this.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
How's it going, man?
Hey. I don't know.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's talk about this short trek.
Yeah, man.
Let's dive right in.
Let's talk about this thing.
I said yesterday that short trek Ephraim and Dot was the least Star Trek thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is slightly more Star Trek. And that's
you think? I think
do.
this is slightly less.
Oh, yeah? I don't agree, because at least in this, it's a guy telling a story, and he's wearing a Starfleet uniform. The thing is, in a way it's more, in a way it's less. It's less Star Trek in the sense that this could happen in any show at any time and doesn't really have to have anything to do with Star Trek. Like, it's just a guy talking to his daughter, which is cute, and there's nothing wrong with it. But also, why?
Yeah, which is part of my reason that it's not very Star Trek.
Yeah. And the other reason it's not very Star Trek is it's basically completely sacrificing the idea of the scientific, like, it's telling the story about magic. And, like, if you're a kid watching this, you're, like, taking this as, I don't know, I think it's supposed to be an alien coming down and giving them information. Is that what we're supposed to?
Yeah, it was totally an alien, and it was totally a ship that crashed. Here's the thing, though, and this is why it bothers me. In the episode Brother, Michael talks about it as 1,000 centuries ago, a girl who dug her hands in wooded ash and threw it into the sky to create the Milky Way.
Okay, so this is a reference to another episode?
Yes, in Discovery.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, she talks about the girl who made the stars.
Is this supposed to be Michael?
Yes, he calls her Michael. And also the guy who is the guy doing the voice of the father is Sonequa Martin Green's husband, who played her dad.
Okay.
In Discovery.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, she's Michael. She's Michael Burnham.
Okay. I thought it when I first saw her, and then I didn't hear him say that, so I was like, okay, maybe not. Okay, but I just missed it.
Yeah, and in Brother, she is reminded of that story. But as described on the show, it was a girl who dug her hands into wood and ash and threw it into the sky to create the Milky Way. And hidden among the Milky Way was a secret message, believed to only be visible to those whose hearts were open enough to receive it, which is not at all what they did here. They can't even keep canon with themselves.
Yeah. Again, see, I thought it was fine. I thought this was fine. But you're right. If this is supposed to be the story that her father told her, this isn't even the story he told her. At least right. The way she remembers it.
That's right. It was pretty, though.
It was pretty. That's the thing. These are really well done, and I feel like they're putting a bunch of money and time into making these things, and then they're just not caring. Like, also, so I think this is, again, I think this is part of their game plan to make kids like Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, there's even like the cute little Pixar thing that they did where she's got the space tardigrade.
Yeah, exactly.
From Ephraim and Dot, but, canonically speaking, she didn't really know those existed necessarily until way later. Way later.
Well, they knew tardigrades existed. They didn't know.
Tardigrades, not this specific tardigrade that was just flying around.
No, for sure. And I mean, canonically, that happens after this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this all bothered me. But even just as conceptually, what it's trying to say about the world and magic and science and the origins of the universe and all that stuff, this is also very Star Trek. And so you're not going to lure kids in to like Star Trek by giving them things to watch that are nothing like Star Trek and just calling them that.
Yeah.
So is their game plan to just have like a bunch of parents showing their kids this stuff so that they're getting their kids primed to like Star Trek later? I don't know, man.
I don't know what the game plan is necessarily. I would assume that is the game plan, but I can get behind the idea of wanting to do Star Trek that looks like Pixar or whatever, and I'm fine with that. But I don't even like, because I think the point of this was, you know, the girl finding her own confidence, finding her own light, etc., all that.
Yeah, well, agreed, but that wasn't even in the story he told or they showed. Like, it actually was an alien who brought light, and who was dispelling the clouds? Is that what we're supposed to believe? The alien gave him a device to reveal the clouds, or like show? Yeah, I don't know, man. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, on any level, even as just like a fun story for the kiddos, it doesn't. I don't understand what it's supposed to mean.
Or maybe this was like, I don't know. Maybe that is a real myth about the girl who dug her hands into the wooded ash.
Mm-hmm.
And her father, being a scientist, told her his version of the story.
Or maybe what we're supposed to believe is that this story is real that we're watching, and that the story he tells her is based on these actual events. That's the only way I can headcanon like what we see on screen to what we like. But obviously the snake in the story is just representational of night. And that's just a kid's imagination, I guess.
Right. But to go so far as to be like, here is an alien. His ship is broken. You know, that brings a certain like realism in the scope of the Star Trek universe that sort of makes it discombobulated for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But especially the fact that it kind of went against what was already stated as the myth on the show.
Yeah. Agreed. If it had just been the myth from the show, at least you're just showing a thing that had happened on the show. But the way they did it, like, what are they trying to say? Like, I don't understand what they're trying to say. Everything that seems like they're trying to say to me has its own problems within the episode. Like, nothing's consistent. All right. But if you got kids and they just want to see a fun thing, this is fine to show them, I guess.
If you don't feel like showing them Trouble with Tribbles or Star Trek 4.
No, I think
any of the other.
I think kids like this more. Certain kinds of kids, at least.
Yeah, but what good is it going to do a parent? Because this is only like a few minutes long.
That's true.
You want to sit your kid down in front of a Pixar. You want them to be, zoned out in front of the boob tube for at least an hour and a half.
Yeah, and again, this does not give me a lot of faith for these animated Treks that are coming forward. Like, I really hope Lower Decks is something different than this. I thought we were getting a glimpse at what Lower Decks might be with these animated things, and I don't think that's what we're getting at all.
Yeah, the thing that I am most disappointed by is the fact that they seem to have decided, at least with these first two outings, which was so important, because we already had so many Star Trek fans that I've been seeing going, oh, like the idea of animated Star Trek. This is going to make Star Trek seem silly. And as a lover of animation, I thought, well, that is incredibly short-sighted on their part to say that. That, you should open yourself up to this, to the idea of animation as a medium, because animation can be just as serious, if not more serious in some instances. It could, open up effects and storylines that we've never thought of before, that we could never make before. And instead, they make some horse shit like these two shows.
Yeah.
Like these two short tracks. And I'm like, oh, so you guys are just as short-sighted as the fans who are bitching about it. Cool. Guess Star Trek's going to be silly now.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we don't like these short treks, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan.
Again, as we said yesterday, we're not the guys who hate this stuff. We're the guys who want to love it. And
indeed.
All right. Just care a little, guys. Care a little, CBS. Let me come check your... let any fan that cares about this stuff just let you know before you put it out what you're missing, because this is just, you're missing shit. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Peace.
Yeah. Live long and prosper, y'all.
To reach out to us, hit us up at StarTrekUcast.com, at Star Trek Ucast on Twitter, or search for the Star Trek Universe Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. And if you want to hear more from David C. Robertson, search for the DC On Screen podcast in your podcast app now, or go to maladjusted.tv for his comedy sketches. If you want to hear more from me, Matthew Carroll, search for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or the Orville Universe podcast in your podcast app, or check out my music. Just search for Matthew Carroll wherever you listen to music.